Hey guys, Thrasher here, and we have our balance changes previews for 3 of the 5 characters. Let's talk about it right now. Okay, so the previews for the balance changes for 3 of the 5 characters have been posted on the official Dragon Ball Legends Twitter. If you want real-time access to that and you don't have to continually check the Twitter, it is connected to my Discord. Feel free to join the Discord. The link is in the description down below. Now let's get to the actual previews. So first up is the original Green Piccolo, the first God tier character that was ever in the game, and he's completely fallen off at this point. He's an absolutely useless character, so this is a very welcome change. It looks like we're going to be getting quite a few things that are going to be helpful. We'll have to see how helpful they are once they've given us actual values, but it looks promising. So let's go through this. Balance change preview, character Sparking Piccolo Green. Various stat increments, which is huge. His stats are terrible right now, and that might be the largest reason why he's so bad and just not used on pretty much the only team you'd use him on right now is Regeneration. You just don't, because his stats are absolutely horrid. So they're going to fix that. That's good. Next thing, extra effects to special move, inflict heavy bleed and downgrade enemies cover reduced damage. That could also be pretty huge. Now, if the cover reduced damage reduction is only for the character that gets hit at the time, that might not be as large, because that's probably not going to be the character that's going to be doing their cover reduced damage. But if it's for all characters on the team at the same time, that's amazing. Extra effect to own, recover reduced damage, decrease enemies card draw speed. That is also huge. That means as he comes in and does his reduction of damage in the cover change, he is going to be stopping the extra cards that the character gets once this Piccolo is sitting out there, and essentially is a sitting duck at that point, but is still tanky. So it looks like he's going to be a very powerful defensive unit that can slow down the enemy's onslaught. Let's move on to the second character, who is Krillin. This one actually caught me by surprise a little bit, and not because he doesn't need an update, because he's so underwhelming that I just completely forgot about him. He just doesn't get used on pretty much any team at the moment, and hopefully there's a couple changes in here that will alter that. So balance change preview, character Sparking Krillin Blue. Various stat increments, which is good. His stats are underwhelming at the moment. Probably not as bad as some of the other characters that are going to get balance changes, but he does need some buffs. And then special move arts, critical rate buff % increased. Now, I don't know how much that's going to help, just because he doesn't have some other character that's really buffing his other crit stats. So we'll have to see how they change that. Maybe it's going to be powerful, maybe it won't. Special arts cost lowered and its range extended. So his solar flare should be able to hit everyone now. It's going to be just as good, well, close to just as good as Final Form Frieza's green card. That should make this an amazing card. And then additional effects to main ability, restore own health and ki. So I think that means that when he uses his main ability to restore health, he's going to restore more health. I'm not really sure, but he also gets ki now. So maybe it's saying the same amount of health, but he's going to get ki instead of just health. So that could be helpful. I don't think it's as powerful as the extended range to his green card, and it's definitely not as helpful as the increase to his stats. So he also looks like he might be a viable character, although I think he's still going to suffer from the fact that there's no team where he's going to be optimal, and he's just not going to be played that much. But at least he's going to be a usable unit for anyone that doesn't have a very stacked box with a lot of Sparking units. So let's look at the third unit, and the one that I knew was coming is Sparking Pan. Balance change preview, character Sparking Pan Blue, various stat increments, which is huge. Her stats are absolutely horrid. Thank God she's getting a stat increase. Special arts cost lowered and its effect powered up. Cool, could be helpful. Additional effects to main ability, draw a special arts card and decrease all enemies card draw speed. So she's another one of those characters that's going to reduce the amount of cards that your opponent has once you use the main ability. That's a main ability you're going to want to use right after they finish a combo, so they can't get all their cards back quickly. This one actually seems the most underwhelming of the 3 previews, which is unfortunate because I think she's probably the worst of the 3. But they do all say etc. at the bottom, so there's going to be more coming for each of them. Hopefully she gets some other buffs. She gets some actual toolkit buffs that increase her damage overall. And I'm pretty excited for the Piccolo, because if he becomes very powerful, you could have a very strong regeneration team at this point. They were sort of teetering on the point of being very, very viable because Zamasu is so awesome, but the rest of their characters are only sort of mid-tier. If you have 2 high-tier characters in the Zamasu and the Piccolo, then you just kind of need a third to pick up the slack. A lot of people will probably run the Janemba just because he can be very defensive against blast attacks. There's other options you could use for sure, but it seems like a team that could really go from being a mid-tier team to a high tier. Probably not the best team in the game, but get a lot closer. Now, these other 2, Krillin, you know, it's great that he's going to get a buff, but I don't think that's going to change the meta too much. And then this Pan, she's going to get a buff. It's not really going to help Hybrid Saiyans a lot. female warriors already have a fair amount of very good female warriors, but she could be viable on that female warriors team, so it could buff them a little bit more. The only one that I really see changing the meta at all is the Piccolo so far, so we'll have to see who the last two characters are, but from what I'm seeing, these do look like reasonable changes. You guys let me know who you think the last two characters should be and who you think they're going to be, and if you guys like this content, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.